Sir, the audio is on. Sir.
Hello. We're Mershad and Ritwik.
And I'm Ritwik.
I just said your name, man. Anyways, we're host of the recently launched weekly news show, The Black Hole, here on the web streaming channel And Chill, where we read news from a newspaper in front of a camera, and we've been on air for around what?
Around 19 episodes.
Yes.
And just today morning, we've received some pretty huge news from the Hawking Center of Quantum Sciences, where physicists have discovered that the only physical property that might be able to surpass the time-space continuum is audio frequency and wavelength.
It's only been around 5 hours since the press released, and everyone around the globe is already talking about it. Some saying that this might be the most groundbreaking news of our 22nd century. Scientists believe that, like stars whose light reaches us only after hundreds of years, and in essence we can see the star for what it was in the past, wavelengths are another physical entity that have shown promise to break through the time paradigm.
Which is why, as a scientific experiment,
Marketing stint?
as a scientific experiment and a marketing stint, we have decided from this episode onwards to stream our completely visual news show on a strictly audio medium.
We hope that while our show hasn't done quite to cross boundaries of race or gender, it might just help us cross boundaries of generations and life forms.
So then let's get to it. Hello, intelligent life forms and also humans. Recorded on the 18th of November of 2116, this is issue 1 of The Black Hole, a show where 15 minutes seems like an entire week.
We've got an interesting top story for you tonight, along with a special interview with Mr. Ghat from the opposition party. But before that, let's recap everything else that happened this week.
News from the city here in Mumbai. A man using the newly released ultra bass cum hyper noise cancellation earphones messes up right and left, dies out of brain perplexion and confusion between the two ears, thus adding new meaning to the problem of not being able to separate the two sides, even after 206 years since they were invented.
This Tuesday, a city school had a Children's Day celebration where kids were handed out free samosa and appy instead of free samosa and fruity, which led to students posting on the school's Facebook page with protests and memes. That's right, memes.
Well, the principal later went public, and one of his statements were, and I quote, "Even though it's everywhere, I don't understand memes. And it's not like I'm ever going to use it anywhere, ever." To which one student immediately replied, "Yeah, like math."
A new nationwide revelation this week as major cities see a rise of a cult society which initially started off as a support group for pyromaniacs in denial. Sources inform that Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire" is the cult's official theme song.
Now, moving on to something a little more relatable. In international news, the FBI released a 320-page document explaining their elaborate yet classified plan on how this week they finally closed down the Pirate Bay and all its servers.
Wow, after all these years. I mean, I wonder what this means for indie movies and elite game companies, and nope, it's still up just yet.
What?
Yup, servers are working and 14 proxies have come up already. Although in other international news, just after 100 years of lifting the ban on having 2 children, China, for some reason, now bans foreplay.
And Egypt, upset about overly sexy portrayal of Cleopatra in a new music video, bans Coldplay.
And in Bollywood this week, Ram Gopal Varma's grandson bans screenplay. Speaking of screenplays not existing, today marks Salman Bhai's first wedding anniversary. Love you, Bhai. Stay safe. As in, people in the city, stay safe since, Bhai has plans tonight.
Now, heading over to some sports news this week. Women cricket wins World Cup. India wins Kabaddi. Indian hockey team wins gold in the Olympics. Do you have anything interesting in the sports news this week?
Yes, I do, Ritwik. Indian men's cricket under-17 Team A won against Indian men's cricket under-17 Team B in a practice 5-over match on a typical training day.
Nice!
Oh, and Virat Kohli was seen jogging yesterday morning somewhere around Worli.
Awesome!
Anyways, in other news, man in paralytic shock after having extremely cold samosa. Officials claim that fridge wasi wasn't such a great idea after all.
Moving on to a new section this week, the Agony Aunt column, where you write into our show where we either ridicule you or give extremely vague advice.
This week, Sonia writes to us from Delhi. Dear Agony Aunt, I am writing to you because I am in a major emotional crisis of my life. My robot won't reply to my text. What should I do? I really think this robot was the one. Please help me.
And the agony aunt has replied to Sonia. So here goes. Dear Sonia, have you tried turning him off and turning him on again? Or else start relying on humans, like engineers, so that they can fix your robot. Do not abandon hope. Try talking to him. And if it doesn't work, it's time to ask, has your relationship with your robot become too mechanical? Now moving on to the top story this week. The iPhoneization plan that the Prime Minister released earlier this week. For those of you who don't know, which quite frankly is shocking since this is what anyone and everyone has been talking about for a week now. So at this point, I really am surprised how you don't know about...
Anyway, the iPhoneization includes the callback of all Snapdragon 500 and Snapdragon 1000 chipsets of everyone's iPhones so as to combat illegal activities like jailbreaking, hacking and downloading and storage of pirated applications. These will be replaced with newer chipsets, including a newer Snapdragon 2001.
And to talk more about exactly that, we have Mr. Ghat with us for some in-depth civilized discussion which would at no point turn into irrelevant shaming of all political parties except for Mr. Ghat's. Neither will it at any point become extremely loud or personal.
Welcome, Mr. Ghat.
Please call me Vishwas.
So, Mr. Vishwas Ghat, shall we begin this interview?
See, listen, the 9G scam was not our fault. We had nothing to do with it. It is all an extremely complicated political propaganda against us where they have you believed on basis of reasonable facts and authentic data that we were the ones responsible for the scam. While in reality, my opinion is that we didn't have anything to do with the scam. I am ready to go on national television and swear...
No, sir. This is about your party's stand on opposing the recent iPhoneization. So, why does your party, and yourself included, feel this way?
What kind of a question are you asking? Hello? We are opposition. So we will oppose now. See, also this iPhoneization makes no sense to me. I don't understand it. Necessary steps were not taken to make the common man understand. Also, studies have shown that out of total corrupted software, only a small fraction is still within the country. Most of which is out of the country. I too have kept all the pirated apps in my Swiss phone, is what I would say if I was corrupt. So what is the use of this?
But it's so much better in the long run. According to sources, only around 1% of the country paid tax for the government apps they used for the year 2113. Now think about it. If only 1 in 100 people did something that is universally the right thing to do, you would be extremely upset. Like if only 1 in 100 people ate Kit Kat the way it's supposed to, that is by breaking it apart individually, while 99 of them still continued biting into the whole bar at once, we'd all be horrifyingly pissed over it.
Alright, but how is it helping us? It is useless. What good has come out of this iPhoneization? No, see, where is the proof? There is no proof. Poof! It's all gone.
There is proof, sir. Wikipedia says that it affected Naxalites and they, and I quote, are crippled. And it's Wikipedia, sir, so it must be true. And that's good, right? If me doing something crippled a communist guerrilla group and benefited the nation, I would literally keep doing that infinitely and not even question it. Like, if me getting up from the couch meant India loses a wicket, rest assured I will not move for the entirety of our side's batting. And that's even though I'm a 20-year-old who knows that it's A, completely bullshit with no real connection between me getting up and a wicket falling, because that's not how anything works. And B, as far as blind faith goes, believing in Scientology instead might make more sense in this scenario. But I'll still do it.
But you haven't answered my question, which is, why is he doing this? No, why is our PM trying to get corrupted software out of circulation? No, think about it, no. There must be some reason, some trick, some huge political propaganda, some major type political motivation.
Of course there is political motivation, Mr. Vishwas. Because during campaigning, that was literally the one thing that he promised to do more than anything. That he will fight against hardware and software corruption in our country's technology.
This is all sensationalization. So many major parties agree with us. Hello, the Prime Minister has taken wrong steps.
But don't you find it ironic? that one of the major parties supporting you in opposing iPhoneitization was actually formed quite recently only because they wanted to fight against jailbreaking and corrupted software in iPhones. That's like Popeye suddenly saying, "Spinach scam hai, Brutus ji."
आप गलत बात कर रहे हैं. You youths never focus on the inconvenience that the public faces, that the common man faces. Just look at their faces. Do you know how problematic it has been? No. Standing in all those lines for hours and hours and hours to go days without enough cash in hand.
Sir, but every time a new iPhone is out, we're anyway standing in huge lines to get it first. And not just iPhones, even concerts or Zara flash sales.
Yes, no, I agree with you. But why? Why must working middle and lower class be standing in lines outside banks to get their iPhones newer GPU chipsets for the sake of country's technology sector? If only it was something more essential like money or notes for the sake of country's long-term economy, I would understand.
Would you understand though?
Okay, but what about that he did not inform us at all about this in advance? What about that? And that he suddenly dropped this bomb on the entire country?
What? Because that was literally the point. Think of this as a surprise party. If you tell about the plan to the one it's for, it literally defeats the sole purpose of the plan.
No, but then what about people from his parties who knew? What about the governor of the technology reserve who knew? What about other executives? What about that? What if they told someone?
How else do you expect him to do it? You don't really expect the Prime Minister to open up softwares, design new apps by himself and also put them on Play Stores, do you? Like I said, think of it as a surprise birthday party. At some point, you have to inform the guy at the bakery to get the cake. And yes, it runs the risks of the news leaking out. Sources show that a couple of journalists knew about it back in April, one of whom disregarded his article that revealed the entire iPhoneitization plan as an April Fool's joke. But the fact that we are even talking about this means that the party was a success.
Who says it is a success? No, I don't think it was a success. I think there has been no party as successful as our party. And to the common man, we say that don't worry about this surprise party because we are all set for the after party. Because the PM has made it so much easier to hold pirated software that a bigger denominator of chipset is here, the Snapdragon 2000. It's so much more convenient to store pirated apps now. Trust me, you all have no idea how easy it is. I know.
Wait, what?
Shit, I have said enough. I have to go. My Twitter seems to be hacked. We will see you in 2119, guys.
Okay, weird. Okay, Ritvik, thoughts?
Look, there are short-term hindrances for sure. As the supply of newer iPhone chips dry up, small and medium-sized businesses are finding it difficult to go through their day-to-day operations. While the government on November 14th tweaked certain rules and increased chipset caps, it should still be tough for a few weeks. And also, there has been horrifying news like doctors unwilling to treat patients and ambulance drivers denying calls if you're using an older iPhone processor. And yes, that does point out to iPhoneitization as a root cause, but is it? Is it though? Or could it just be that some people are jerks? Like, they might have in the past denied patients just because they were wearing Linkin Park t-shirts or an Indian jersey from an older World Cup. They weren't compelled to deny patients the treatment just because new chipsets have come out and the patients don't have it. They're just bad people, that's all.
So yes, it's not perfect, but it's something. It's something. And isn't that what we have always said? Why doesn't the government do something? So here it is, something. And if you're feeling down because it's not perfect and things are falling apart, listen to this.
आई थिंक सो इज द करेक्ट डिसीजन है.
अभी कॉमन आदमी को थोड़ा तो सहन करना चाहिए मेरे ख्याल से, क्योंकि इतना बड़ा मूव है ये.
अच्छा पहल है और इससे काफी फर्क पड़ेगा.
लेकिन अगर कुछ समय के लिए अगर दिक्कत होती है तो वो हमारे हित के लिए ही है, हमारे लिए नुकसान नहीं, हमारे फायदे के लिए है.
कुछ टाइम के लिए दिक्कत रहेगी बट आगे के फ्यूचर के लिए जो इन्फ्लेशन कॉस्ट है वो रिड्यूस होंगे.
थोड़ा दिन तकलीफ है वो तो ठीक है, लेकिन इससे बहुत आगे देश को ये भला ही है.
बहुत बेहतरीन किया है, मगर ये खैर 2 दिन हम लोगों को जैसे गरीबों को तकलीफ है, बाकी और कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
थोड़ा सा गवर्नमेंट को पब्लिक को हेल्प करना पड़ेगा, पब्लिक उनको हेल्प करेगी, दोनों मिलके काम करेंगे तो काम होगा.
And isn't this kind of awesome? Look, The iPhoneization plan is crafted keeping the long-term effects in mind, and by the virtue of something being long-term, you cannot predict it being a success or failure immediately. So we don't know if as a plan or as a step to combat corrupted software, if it won.
But when you hear people standing hours in a line and going through a lot of hassle and obstacles and still saying that they stand with the Prime Minister and his decision, I think democracy wins. I don't know if iPhoneization fails on an economic sense or as a success goes on to transform us into the next US. But very recently, one of the major superpowers had an election where more than half of the country's citizens aggressively hate their president-elect. And in dark times like these for democracy, it's hopeful to see that ours couldn't be stronger.
And if that still doesn't make you even a little happy, well, you know what they say about countries with long queues.
Wait, what? That makes no sense. That's not the quote.
And that's our show. This show wouldn't be possible without the two of us. So thank you to you.
And a thank you to you.
And also we are extremely grateful to the cast and crew of Last Week Tonight with Johnny Lever for letting us use the set for recording. Sadly, as always, our show would not be followed by Game of Thrones, as very recently in one of his chapters, George R.R. Martin decided to kill off George R.R. Martin.
Stay tuned after this for our new celebrity cookery show called Cooking Bad with Chef Ali Khan, where in tonight's episode you will learn how to make mushroom basundi and Shezwan lassi.
Break it down. Breathe it. Breathe